Hey everybody, this is the season where the veil is the thinnest. So our topic today is Day of the Dead. And it has to do with a cultural mashup of different ways that people celebrate and honor the dead. It sometimes is referred to as the Mexican Halloween, and it's not. It's actually, celebrated by cultures all around the world, of different kinds of Latin cultures. And its origins, a lot of people, don't realize where it comes from or kind of what it represents. So growing up, biracial, I basically learned how to celebrate and kind of mix the different cultures and lifestyles and celebrations together and kind of make it like our own family tradition. So, that being said, as I became a mom and was raising my family, I thought it was really important to incorporate um, honoring the dead, really having a place and a space for them and our memories and everything like that. And, um, you know, my married and family is not Mexican, they're Puerto Rican, but in all its totality, there was always something that drew me to this entire culture. And I know it has to do with a past life as, being an Aztec um, high priestess. And so I was always drawn to, the different ways that they did stuff and they created stuff. And I knew that there was a connection. So I started working with Aztec gods and goddesses and different Catholic saints. And that's kind of what this whole mashup is about. But it starts at the midnight of October 31st, which is All Hallows Eve, and it goes until November the 2nd. So a little bit of history going back to how it started was the Spanish came over, to Mexico, and they brought Catholicism with, and they basically changed all the pagan temples and all of the ways that most of society was celebrating and the way that they chose to honor the different gods. And so they kind of, put that within their religious system. And the mashup of All Saints Day and All Souls Day celebrates the different saints and everything that the Catholic Church, likes to honor. And that's, for instance, like Jesus, Mother Mary. There's many different types of saints, but um, as far as All Souls Day, that's just a day to honor all of the dead. And I like to at least think about it in terms of to not be scared or afraid. And I really liked the concept of people getting together as a family and making food and, cleaning the grave sites of their family members, or if they were cremated, they would, clean their altars and get ready for the season and play music. And everyone went to the cemetery and kind of had a party and a picnic and ate and celebrated. And it wasn't something, um, like in some cultures, seems to be a real big fear. Like a lot of times in kind of North America, you won't see families going to cemeteries at, a certain night, especially at night, because a lot of times, because it's days ongoing, there's different celebrations at different times. And at the end of the night, families bring candles and they sit down and they just kind of, talk about memories. People celebrate in a lot of different ways, but it's a beautiful culture as far as the honoring of our ancestors is what is something I gravitated towards. But different people have different ways that they do it. For instance, I have an altar over there, but part of my altar, I always have candles. I have pictures of my deceased loved ones or animals. Um, Sometimes I put food, depending on what the occasion, as far as, if I can have it in the area and it's not too much. Lots of times we'll make like sugar cookies that are skulls. As you can see, there's a skull theme going on. But what I like about honoring and getting down to the symbology of skeletons in general is it represents the foundation, I think, of just the human construct. Um, we all have white skeletons. There's no race, there's no gender. It's the basis for what we all are. And so I think that besides that, it also shows that there's like an equality. And so as far as Day of the Dead, I kind of celebrate from October 31st all the way through November. So on one day is All Saints Day, and that is November 1st. And then All Souls Day is November 2nd. But there's ways that they break it down as well, where you can celebrate, the children that have passed one night and the adults that have passed on another night. And like I said, you just make different types of, food, and you can decorate your altar and put little trinkets. Like I have, certain trinkets and things that I like to honor. For instance, my aunt, it's on top of my angel here, she used to make silk flowers, and she made this blue silk flower for another one of my aunts for her wedding. And so my uncle has now passed away, and so has my aunt. And so I keep these along with pictures and little memories and tokens and things like that. But I also have my granite and clear quartz Aztec temple, and I just kind of like to light my, specific candles, say prayers, and call upon the different saints and the different Aztec gods and goddesses. And I like to play music and even dance around. That was one thing that a lot of my family members, when they passed, something that got us through the hard times was dancing and joking and laughing. So when it comes down to ways that we celebrate, there's a lot of music and a lot of dancing, and it's just always been really fun. So I do encourage you to, make your own way of doing things. I never stick to, the strict doctrine of things, because like I said, being biracial, you can't, there's no, at least with me, I don't like picking just one. I like a variety of things, and it's kind of like a gumbo mix of various ways to celebrate. And I also celebrate paganism and being Celtic. So there's those roots as well, because I am, part Irish. But I want to say probably this year I'm going to be calling on the Aztec warrior, Quasiquoro. And what I like about him is I've worked with him in the past, and he has a way of, I don't know how, but he alters time so I can get stuff done. Like whenever it's the last minute of something, especially around the holidays, I'm constantly calling on him to help get stuff done. And ways that you can do that is he does a feather dance. And so he really likes different types of drumming music or just rhythmic music in general. So there's not a specific song that I put on, but I will look within, let's say on YouTube, within the indigenous, Aztec culture, and just go through different songs. And when I find something that like really resonates, that's how I know that that's the song he wants, because there's a certain kind of feeling. And like I said, he dances with feathers, and he's very particular about, like, at least I can sense because it's literally feeling like there's a feather, floating by me, or there's a little tiny gust of wind. So that's how I know when, he's been around. Or I will kind of hear some kind of a beat in my head. Um, and so that helps as well. But yeah, I encourage you to, try different ways to make your altar, whether it's, putting your animals. I also have my black Sphinx cat, um, as well, and some other animal trinkets up there. But I just think it's important to not be afraid to celebrate and mourn. It's about a happy remembrance time, and not having the stigma of, your children or younger children watching the fear and the pain and all of that. I mean, everyone grieves, and that's definitely an important part of the process. But as somebody who grew up in different types of churches and going to a lot of funerals in my life, if more of my family celebrated it in the way that I do now, I think a lot more of my family would have been a lot more comfortable talking about it and accepting it. Because I went to two different types of church. One was an African American Baptist, and the other was Lutheran, on my mother's side. So I got lots of different cultures. And when it came to funerals and death, one side of the church had the soul music, the crying, the fainting, all the things, that come with African American culture and how they mourn. And then on my mom's side, and that it's very quiet, it's very reserved. There's no hollering, there's no screaming. It's very short to the point, and it rarely goes off course. So, in raising my own daughter with a lot of death in our lives, we wanted things to be balanced, and that was really important. So that's what we did with my dad. We made sure it was balanced. We had military there honoring him. We had all different types of cultures there. We decided to have like a celebration afterwards where there was a DJ. My uncle played music. We got some good soul food to eat, and we laughed, we cried, and we honored him, and we told stories, and it was a really great way to honor and grieve at the same time. So I actually have my dad's ashes, in a butterfly urn that lights up. It's a night light. And part of the culture of Day of the Dead, they also honor butterflies, the monarch butterfly, because this is the time of year when they seasonally return to Mexico. So the transformation part of what a butterfly goes through was really important. And if you can just find a way to make it your own, it becomes a little piece of the new ancestor history that you're creating while honoring the old. And it's fun, it's festive, and I think that it should be looked at in the light of that, and not in the fear of skeletons and horror and zombies and all that. So